This is That Matt85 here with a singles match for the Bear side of the mat. Today, I'm talking about qualifications for the Hall of Fame, I guess. I was thinking of how to put this really. So, every year, really, and it's not so much that it's a big thing right now, but every year there's people that make it into the Hall of Fame and others that are wondering, why are they there? I think for a lot of people, the number one qualification and possibly only qualification is what titles have they earned? How many titles have they earned? How long have they had those titles? What big matches have they won? What main events have they won? What belts? What Slammy awards? Although kind of like medals and trophies you can put up on your stand. But for real, here's the thing. I don't think I'm gonna surprise anybody when I say the outcomes of the matches for WWE are fixed. It's not a competition in terms of physical strength and skill and ability. That's not what's going to propel somebody into being a champion. So that being said, I'm not saying that championships don't mean anything or awards don't mean anything. A lot of times people that are winning the championships, winning awards, they're earning them, of course. But that also doesn't mean that people who haven't won them haven't deserved them. Let's take a look at it really quick. So for a title, there are different reasons why people get a title. I'd say the number one reason mostly is because they draw well. So they're in the main, they got the belt. People either want to see them lose or people want to see them defend the belt. And they're going to pay to come to or pay to see these matches, mostly because of that match, that being usually the main event. But sometimes people are put in the possession of the title because they make the title more legitimate. For example, I know a lot of times giving Brock Lesnar the title was because he was a UFC star. He brought legitimacy. If he has the title, man, that title means something. If somebody's going to have it after him, they're going to be like, whoa, this is the same title Brock Lesnar had, and he's a beast. Sometimes they give the title to someone to give legitimacy to that person. So they have a young superstar they want to make legitimate. Man, this dude, we want him to get over with the fans. We want him to have this credential so that people can look at him and we can point to him and we can be like, look, he's such a great person. He won all these titles. You might say that for Roman Reigns. Excuse me. So yeah, there's different reasons why people have titles, and sometimes it's good, sometimes it doesn't look good on them. Sometimes it depends on what they've done with the title. How did they work with the title? How long have they had the title? I think just as far as the title goes, there's a lot that goes into that. But there's more factors in general that go into who should be in the Hall of Fame, in my opinion. For me, the number one criteria for going into the Hall of Fame is entertainment value, and that goes along with longevity. If you're really entertaining, chances are they're going to keep you around for a while, and if you're entertaining the whole time, then that kind of just goes hand in hand. I'm going to use one of my favorite wrestlers as the comparison point here, the Bushwhackers. The Bushwhackers were in WWE for or WWF at the time, for a long time. They were the favorites of a lot of people, including myself. And still, a lot of people love them. Did they put on the greatest matches all the time? No. Were they in many main events? No. Did they win any tag team titles? I don't think they did. And they went into the Hall of Fame. And I remember a lot of people saying, that was kind of controversial. Why are they going to the Hall of Fame? What have they earned? They were some of the most entertaining people in WWF in the period that they were there. Heck, even when they were giving their speech, they were probably the most entertaining people on that stage that day or night. That, I think, means so much more, because that's another thing that goes with the titles. If you're entertaining and you're doing your thing and you're legitimate, people like you, and you haven't had the titles, then you don't really need them. They don't need to give it to you because you're not going to make the titles legitimate. They don't need to give it to you because you're going to be someone that they only want to see lose the title or defend the title. You're someone that's going to draw crowds, whether you're got the title or not, whether you're facing off against, big shots or facing off just against somebody else. And a lot of times, if you can put on a big feud without it, the focal point being the titles, then you don't really need the titles. You're doing a better job, I think. So I guess people were talking about, at least if you watch our Twitter, John Bear was talking about Rikishi going into the Hall of Fame and whether he should be or not, and people being against it. I'm guessing because he doesn't have the credentials as far as awards go, but man, yeah, he someone who, when he came back on the show, even for a small spot, would get a huge pop, and that's the kind of person I think that deserves to be in the Hall of Fame and honored in that way. Someone who's that's the lifeblood for WWE. There is the thrill of competition, and of course, with the people that you like, you want to see them win the titles, but they only have so many titles. So people who are working the mid card, the low card, that's what ends up making a really good show. If I want to go back to the Monday Night Wars, WCW had a lot of really good luchadors and cruiserweights padding up the low card, mid card, putting on great fights, putting on great promos, making awesome TV, and that was something that WWE didn't have. They had a title that was stuck on one person. I guess by the time that the Monday Night Wars were coming, that wasn't stuck on one person, but they would get behind one or two people. They might float another couple people in there for title opportunities, but they hardly had anything going on that wasn't the main event. They just had a couple of as personalities. And that I think more than anything was a big problem at the time. It's not who do you have at the top, it's who do you have in the middle and the bottom. So yeah, looking at the Hall of Fame, when you're deciding who should be in there, I think you, me, everybody should be considering how did they entertain you, how did they make you feel. And this is different than, say, like the NFL Hall of Fame, the NHL Hall of Fame, the MLB Hall of Fame. Those sports almost strictly should be statistics, because in those sports you're only doing your job if you're winning, and not necessarily just wins, but contributing to your team winning, not necessarily just your team's wins, but your stats as far as how well you have contributed. But again, with WWE, it might not be your job to win every time. It might be your job to make somebody else look good by losing, by putting them over. It might be your job to make the crowd laugh. It's all about entertainment, sports entertainment, and how are you doing? Are you doing your best with sports entertainment by entertaining people? And that's I guess the main point I wanted to get over. So I forget who exactly is in this year's Hall of Fame, or was supposed to be. I don't know. I think it's postponed until they can do another big live event. Looks like SummerSlam's going to be in the Performance Center, so they're probably not going to hold it then. But say if the Survivor Series is in a town, I could imagine them doing the Hall of Fame ceremony before a Survivor Series. I don't imagine they would skip a whole year, but I don't imagine that everything's going to be shut down for a whole year. So at some point they'll release or actually have the ceremony. I believe they've already released everybody who's in the Hall of Fame. But looking at the next several years, when you're seeing who's in there, just take that as a consideration. What was the entertainment value? That I think is the most important thing to consider with who's in the Hall of Fame. And with all that being said, you would be a personal Hall of Famer to me and John Bear if you were to give this a thumbs up. And if you want to see our videos as they come out, click subscribe, and we'll be on YouTube on your left-hand side. There'll be a little blue dot every time we release a new video. And you can check out what we have to say in our podcasts. Our streamcasts are on Wednesdays usually. So check us out on Twitch on Wednesday, and have a good day.